Well, everyone has to build bridges with members of families sometimes that, nobody's got a perfect family, I don't think.
I see myself as someone who always like to build bridges. Like friends knows me for that, family knows me for that as well. I like just to see people get along.
I fell out with my mum and dad recently, and I was the one that had to go and build bridges, basically. So obviously I knocked at the door, and I had to apologise, even though it wasn't my fault. We're not too bad at the moment. We still have ups and downs, but we're getting there.
Burning bridges and building bridges, yeah. I did both. Last year I walked away from a toxic relationship, not for the other person, but for me, because I was ruining their life unintentionally.
I was put into care, and from the ages of about 3 to 16, I was being passed around the country, and then I had to get back in touch with my mum, and then try and get answers, but she wasn't really interested in giving me them. So obviously I don't think she wanted to bring up the past sort of thing. So it was a bridge in a sense, but it was a long and windy bridge rather than just a normal straight bridge.
I spent 6 months homeless, but all the time I held down a job, and I've beaten all my addictions and issues. I've come to terms with my health problems. In the past 3 years I've buried 2 good friends, my ex-father-in-law and my brother, and a big bridge that got burnt when my brother died. Me and my dad started speaking for the first time in 20 years. So there are positives to come out of. There's silver linings in every cloud, no matter how big and black, because I'd been right there at the bottom and I thought I can't go any lower, so it's up to me to climb up. I did the thing that everyone's scared to do, and I picked up the phone.
I dealt with a lady who we'd been to see, myself and a housing officer, and we forewarned her because she was allowing drug dealing from her house, etc., that there was a chance that she could be evicted if she didn't curtail her lifestyle. And lo and behold, that evening she had all the windows put through. Then one thing led to another. She got a child who was taken off her, and because of my intervention, she personally held me responsible for taking the child away from her. And so the bridge I had to make was with her. She gave a statement to the police saying who caused the damage, and so I got in touch with the council and let them know that she was cooperating with us, and asked if they could, make right with her windows maybe. Somebody's got to make that first step, and sometimes when you've got 2 very stubborn people for their own reasons, then someone somewhere's just got to make that first step, so I did.
I think we're demolishing bridges globally at the moment, aren't we? We're lifting up the drawbridge, aren't we, to other countries and becoming more isolationist, and which is probably not a good thing.
I think the leaders, I think they need to start listening to each other. I think they need to listen to each other and stop coming at things with their own agendas about what they can make out of a situation. Just because there are no guns, it doesn't mean that there is no war.
As a former Royal Marine, when you're from our point of view, you're looking down the sights of a gun at someone, without sounding horrible, you have to see everyone as a threat until you put the gun down, you get a chance to talk to people, which isn't always good to our sergeants and our commanders and things like that, but you saved a man's life by talking. They say the pen's mightier than the sword. Well, your voice is more powerful than a bullet sometimes.
The story I have is I'm a veteran from the U.S. Services, and I was in the first Gulf War. We were invited, they had a program to let locals meet with us so we could get to understand each other. And my mates and I were invited to this Saudi gentleman's house, his family's home, and we had a meal with them, we sat and talked with them, we spent the whole day with them, and got to learn of them as a people and their culture, and I think made friends. Building that bridge over a table of food is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I did 3 tours. I was out in Helmand province, and obviously people saw us in a uniform, what they call a camouflages and whatnot. They automatically just assume we're there to kill them, and obviously that's not what we were about at all. So we ended up obviously getting to know some of the people and learning a little bit of the language so we can have a little bit of a conversation with them, tell them who we are. And then we was having what we used to call geef burgers. Wasn't sure if it was goat, wasn't sure if it was beef, but it was nice anyway. And it's sitting in I'd call it a lounge, but I'm not sure what they call it. But yeah, talking, having a laugh, playing music. Yeah, it was great.
I lost my husband after 34 years of marriage, and I had a breakdown. So I just upped and left Yorkshire. It was hard at first, but I was homeless and I spent 2 weeks in the police station sleeping on a night. And then somebody mentioned the Cyrenians, so I went to them. I went for a bus and I didn't know where the town was or anything as such. So I just said to them, can you tell me if this is a stop that'll take me into town? Nobody answered me, they all ignored me. So me, being on a down at the time, if you know, I just went straight up and cried my eyes out. Yeah, but I overcome it. As I say, I built the bridge and learned which way the buses went and gradually got there.
Okay. It's about autism. I have good and bad days. I have achieved everything. I have overcome my claustrophobia. I like taking pictures. I have written a book called Me and My Autism. I would like people to understand and be supportive towards me. I have even travelled to London for the first time.
So you wrote that, did you write that today? Or
Yesterday. London was lovely. I had a lovely time in Hyde Park. But I was okay going to Hyde Park, but when I got to the church, my friend Benji took me for a walk because there's too many people there to get away from the crowd.
So do you think you'll go to London again?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to go to London Zoo.
I've got learning difficulties, so I thought my whole school life and like how the teachers were, they weren't very good teachers, but I found a way to cope because like my mum died, so then I was living with a partner who was very abusive. So then after that, then I moved into supported accommodation. Then I got in touch with Crisis, and that's when things really changed and progressed. They got me, I'm still in my shell, but they got me out of my shell, if that makes sense. And I've always said they made me into a gobby cow.
My relationship with my mum has always been quite difficult because she's my mum and I'm her son. But for a long period of time we did not speak, or if we did speak, it was very from a place of difficulty and lack of understanding. And about 4 years ago, I suffered a life-threatening event, which caused a massive shift and reconsideration of that relationship. And through that, the thought of nearly losing me and me nearly losing her brought us very much closer together. And it's still something that we work at continually, but I do believe as a result of that event that bridge is very strong and very firmly in place.
I had my best friend in the beginning of primary school. She was a Moroccan girl and we got along super good. Like for me was no difference. But then I invited her and some other people to my birthday party. And first somebody was gonna pick up my best friend who was the Moroccan girl, and then they would come to my party. And when they arrived in front of the door, the father, he got super angry that she wanted to go to a birthday party of a Belgian girl, even though we were living in Belgium. And so he slapped my best friend in front of all the others, and then he just closed the door and she couldn't come. So it was kind of his way to cut a bridge that we already built super strong.
Sometimes, you fall out through the years with members of your family, and they've got to think, don't know what's around the corner, and so they should make the first move, because they don't know what's ahead of them, and they'll regret it if they don't.
My love died, and it took a very long time to kind of deal with, come to terms with. So his family, his mum lived on the other side of the world, and I'd never been, and we had plans when we were together to kind of go there and be there. It's his favourite place in the world, and I think ever since it happened, I thought about his mum every day. I'd never met her, but I just thought, God, can you imagine that being your child, and like how much in pain I was, and God, how much she'd be feeling. And so when I went over, I emailed her and kind of didn't say very much. I just said, I'm a friend of Adam's, and I'm around if, I don't know, if you wanted to meet up. And I think I was so scared to do it. I think it was, at that point, the scariest thing I'd ever done in my life.
So it's a very emotional thought, because I've had situations where, having got on with members of my family, and I have, before I was ill, I actually made up with people, but I think everyone should try.
I was in a state in the hotel room. I was like shaking and crying because I was so scared about meeting her. And anyway, she was like, yeah, came and picked me up, and I ended up staying at their house for a few days, which I hadn't expected. So it felt like there was a bridge, I think, over the process of talking with her. I guess I was able to share with her, over lots of tears, between us. I think we flooded Auckland, but sort of shared memories and kind of tell her how this is what he'd been like at school, and some sort of fun stories. And she was, sort of talk about times we'd had together, and to kind of, get out all the photos. And I think she took me to some of his favourite places, and that felt really special.
Just persevere. But just remember yourself, really. Don't ever forget yourself. I've realised that the hard way.
But for us, it made no difference. When I saw her again, I had absolutely no problem with her. I just realized that she had a really bad father. But between us, we were still super good. Our bridge was still really strong.
It is all about the communities. The communities are the problems, the communities are also the solutions.
We're all different people. A lot of us believe in a lot of different things. I've learned to not look at people as a group and not judge it by the actions of one or two individuals, but look beneath that to other people.
Bridges are important to be built, and they're important to bring balance, because at the end of the day, they're powerful things, and they say more about me when I'm walking across them, from one end to the other. Walk across that bridge, somebody might be able to help you across the other side. If somebody lifts up the rock and says, there is light under here and we can help you if you choose to do it.
Because we all do it. We all fall out with, siblings and members of our family over stupid things. And I think the world would be a much better place if we all made a move. Put it behind us, because everyone's stubborn and no one's going to make that first move. Sorry, I got stingy eye now.